This fight right here, I'm actually asking myself, what is the point? Anthony Dirrell versus Marco Antonio Rubio is official for September the 6th, 2015. Is it CBS? I believe it's PBC on CBS. It's a midday card, and we know that Marco Antonio Rubio's last fight was against Gennady Golovkin at 160 pounds. He didn't make weight. He ended up getting knocked out. Actually, it really looked like he didn't want to go on. You know, depending on how you viewed the fight, it's debatable whether he wanted to continue fighting again, especially once he got punched up top of the head. Anthony Dirrell's last fight, he lost to Bottle Jack in a fight where he didn't look nearly as good as he did in the first two, or nearly as aggressive as he did in the first two, in the previous two fights, which was with Saki Obika. Now, you may ask yourself and may be thinking, okay, well, maybe this is a little bit of a soft touch for Anthony Dirrell because, you know, his last three fights have been tough ones. Or maybe it's just for him to get an easy win, because the way I'm looking at it, from my side, Marco Antonio Rubio is done. Now, he is the former champion, so he is, you know, still ranked very high within the WBC. For example, you got fighters like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. around him at 168 pounds. You know, who else? Who else? Somebody else is ranked very high in the WBC that he can fight. I forgot. But basically, go check out the WBC rankings, and you'll see that Anthony Dirrell is still ranked pretty high. Now, as far as potential fights for Anthony Dirrell, remember, James DeGale is an Al Heyman fighter now. I would love to see that fight. We can't expect to see a Chavez Jr. versus an Anthony Dirrell. Why? Because we don't even know what Chavez Jr. weight is. We don't know if Chavez Jr. is still going to be on a rebuilding path. We just don't know what's going on with this kid. Is his hand really hurt? So I look at this as being, you know, a PBC showcase fight. Anthony Dirrell coming back, you know, to get a nice win under his record. Also, maybe go for the knockout. Rubio was stopped in his last fight, which was nearly a year ago, by the way. And maybe this is a fight for him to, you know, as what I've learned from Sam Watson, he said in an interview not too long ago, you know, what the PBC does is, or Al Heyman does with his fighters is, they'll put you in a fight, you win that, you make some money. They put you in another fight a little higher up, you make some money. You know, you get a title shot, you know, you make some money, you win your belt, you know, then if you lose your belt, you fall all the way back down again and start working your way back up. You know, like, for example, you see Peter Quillen taking on Michael Zarafa. You know, and that's probably because, most likely because he had the draw. You know, so therefore they bumped him down a notch to put him against a fighter that's somewhat globally known, but yet a fighter where he's supposed to be. Marco Antonio Rubio is a known name. Well, he's a known name. You know, if you're a boxing fan, you should have heard of his name before. But at the same time, he's someone that Anthony Dirrell should have no problems or issues roughing up. Now, remember, to his credit, Marco Antonio Rubio does have that win, you know, over David Lemieux. But let's face it, that was at 160 pounds, and that's when Marco Antonio Rubio was actually somewhat kind of good. So, somewhat kind of good. So, you know, and also Marco Antonio Rubio is a guy who once fought at 154 pounds. So, him moving up, you know, to 168, you know, and he's fought there before. In my opinion, you know, I just thought the guy was done. You know, he doesn't look like a fighter that has the heart or the will to go in there to actually fight the win. And it's more looking like with me to Rubio that he's going out there to get a check. Just my personal opinion. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live of RealCombatMedia.com. And I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.